What's going on, my fellow dogs? Welcome to another tier list video. Today, we are going to be ranking the Mario Odyssey captures, and I'll be doing Mario Odyssey outfits soon, so stay tuned for that whenever I can. So let's just get this started. I guess starting off with the list below. First off, we have is a boulder, F. You literally are just a boulder. You just move something and then you get purple coins, I guess. Next up we have is the cactus, F. It's basically a boulder, but you're just moving a cactus. While it hurts you, unlike the boulder, but you get a moon out of it, which is more better than purple coins if you don't care about them. Next up we have is the Bowser statue. I'll put that D tier. It's basically the boulder and cactus, but I mean, you're a Bowser statue, so that's just cooler, honestly. Next up we have is the bonds. First off, we'll just do the bonsai bill. Put it at B tier. It's pretty good, but it lasts for a short amount of time because it's a bonsai bill, so be aware that it's going to explode, I guess. Next up we have is the normal bullet bill. I'll put it at A tier. This is basically bonsai bill, but you last for a longer time and you go faster, so yeah, big step up. Next up we have is the chain chomp. I'll put this at C tier. I know there's really not much to do with the chain chomps that much, but you just turn to a chain chomp, you break walls. That's basically it. Next up we have is... Oh, warning! If you never beat Odyssey, you might not want to watch this video. By the way, so yeah, I'm trying to look to see what these are actually. Next up, we have is the that was the big chain chomp, the big chain chomp. Next up, we have is a normal chain chomp. I mean, I don't think I need to go far into this because it's basically the same thing. So yeah. Next up is the golden or Rodu's chain chomp, which is going in the B tier. Just like the normal chain chomps, it's used for a boss battle, so there's not really much you can do. I mean, I guess that's really all to really mention, I guess. Next up we have is the binoculars. Gotta put this in, might be high because I'll put it at A tier, but maybe it's because you're looking around and figuring out what to do, but it's just really for one use anyway, so it's not really much. Next up we have is... I forgot what these are called. These, I don't remember what these were called. I'm looking at the list right here, so I can keep the name. Charge and Chuck. Wow, I can't believe I forgot that. S tier. I mean, come on. You turn into a Charge and Chuck. You can break walls and all that stuff. It's pretty satisfying, honestly. Next up we have is the normal Cheep Cheeps. Putting it at A tier. You swim a lot faster than what you would normally swim as Mario, and I don't think I need to go into too much detail on this one because... I mean, that's really cool in general. Next up we have is the Cheep Cheep from Snow Kingdom. I got put in A tier. It's basically Cheep Cheep, but just in Snow Kingdom because you won't freeze, I guess. Yeah, big step up, I know. Next up we have is the Fire Bros. Gotta put them in A tier or S tier, actually, because they're pretty fun to use. Probably one of my favorites, honestly. Next up we have is the Frog, another S tier, because you turn into a frog and you're bouncing around pretty high. Next up we have is the, let me see what this one's called, the Jizzo, I believe that's what it's called, D tier. It's basically the boulder, cactus, Bowser statue, but you turn it to the Tanuki, the statue from Mario 3. Nice reference, I know. Next up we have is this, you gotta remember this name. It's called the Coin Coffer, going in the C tier. You spit coins out, but you also lose coins, so that's kind of defeats the purpose of this one, but hey, it's okay, I guess. Next up we have is, I don't remember what this one's called too. I'm just looking at the list because I haven't played the game in a while. It's called Glidin. I think that's how you say that. It's S tier. I mean, come on, you're flying around pretty high, you can glide a lot further. I mean, it's pretty cool. Next up we have is Knucklelock's Fist. I think that's how you pronounce that. B tier. You turn into a fist and you basically are just hitting a boss. I mean, it's like you're controlling Master Hand and Crazy Hand, I guess. Next up we have is a Goomba, B tier. I don't think I really need to go in detail on this because you can move freely with this one, honestly. Next up we have is, I'm trying to know what these ones are called. Next up we have is a Rocket. It's an F tier as well. You just turn into a rocket with a cutscene. It's pretty sad, I know, but I mean, it's a rocket, I guess. Next up, a manhole, F, because it's literally like the other ones. You move in, get to a little area, I guess. Next up, we have is a meat, D tier. You just turn into a piece of meat, and you get pulled by the bird or whatever her name is. Yeah, Hope Mario doesn't get food poisoning. Next up we have is a Dry Bones, the flying one, I guess. I'll put it at B tier because you're flying around, so yeah. Next up we have is the Paragumas going in A tier. It's basically like the Dry Bones, but you fly way more freely most of the time. So it's pretty fun to use, honestly. Next up we have is the Gushins. Gotta put this in A tier as well. This is a pretty fun one to use. Very fun capture to use, honestly. It's one of my favorites. And can't get over how great this is. Next up we have is the Letters C tier. You only really use it for useful stuff, but it's a pretty funny one to use because you just are a letter, honestly. Next up we have is, I don't think this, hey, yeah, okay, these are just Hammer Bros, but yeah, okay. We have the Hammer Bros S tier. I mean, come on, it's just you're throwing hammers, you turn into a Hammer Bro. Hammer Bros is one of my favorite enemies anyway. Next up we have is the, Latitude Fishing D tier. I mean, maybe it's because I really hate the fact that I'm fishing and it's annoying, but yeah, I don't think I need to go in detail on this one because it's hard to really get moons this way because nobody likes this thing. Next up we have is the Piranha Plant. I believe that's just what it's called. Just Piranha Plant. Poison Piranha. Gonna put this in the C tier. There's really not much you can do. You can spit poison at them, but you're standing in one spot, so that kind of defeats the purpose of it. So, yeah. Don't think I need to go in detail on that one either. Next up we have is this, what's this one called? I really haven't remember. I haven't been prepared for this, honestly. The RC car, B tier. I gotta say, this is one of the fun collectibles. You really only get like one use out of it, but it's a pretty fun one to use, honestly. So, yeah. Next up we have is the puzzle part. It's D tier, only for a moon basically. I'll also put in this one from I think the other kingdom, so I'll just put both of them in D tier because they're basically the same thing, but because you get a moon from both of them, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Excuse me, my nose is not the best. Next up we have is the lava bubble, putting a B tier as well. I mean, you really only use it in the lava, unfortunately, but it's still a very cool one to use, honestly. So, yeah. Next up we have is, I'm trying to know what this one's called. The picture match. We'll put both Goomba and Mario on the list. C tier. Both of them are in C tier because I'm not a fan of these, and I've always had trouble with these because I'm probably bad, but I don't know, it's weird. Next up we have is T-Rex. S tier. I mean, come on. This is literally one of the best captures you get in the beginning, so yeah. Next up we have is a tree. F tier. It's basically Cactus and Boulder. You get a moon, but hey, you don't take damage from the tree. I know, big step up. Next up we have is a taxi. D tier. Remember we all got excited when we could just drive a taxi around? Well, it's just a cutscene. Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed, but I mean, it's still our taxi. Next up we have is the zipper. D tier, because it's just a zipper for opening up an area most of the time, so don't think I need to go into detail on that one. Next up we have is, what are these called? The Pokio? I don't know how to say these, but gotta put these in A tier, because they're pretty fun to use. You grab walls with their little pokies, or whatever they're called, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Next up we have is the Tropical Wiggler. Gotta put it as a B tier. This is definitely one of the more funny captures in the game. So yeah, gotta love this one. Next up, Yoshi. Easy S tier. Probably one of the best captures in the game. You move freely, and basically you can get stuff out of it. I know, big step up. Next up we have is, try to know what this one. This shock thing. What's it called again? I really haven't been getting prepared into this. It's already been 9 minutes now. Next up is the Spark Pilothon D tier. I know it's really funny, but you only really use it for one use. So maybe that's why I put this lower, but it's pretty fun to use, honestly. Next up we have is these guys. I don't know what they're called either. Moai's C tier. I know there's really not much to do with these guys, so actually let's put it in B tier. Like, it's not visible while you can't really jump either, so yeah. Next up we have is it pitchforks, I guess? Let's see. I'm not sure what these are called. And it's not really showing, I was way off, these guys. Volbun, I don't know how to say these, but these. A tier, pretty fun to use, and yeah, I like these ones. This capture. Next up we have is the pole. This is from New Donk Say going in the A tier. I mean, come on, it's just not much to say on this one, honestly, because it's basically both of them are basically the same thing. Next up we have is Typhus. C tier. I know it's not one of the best captures in the game, but I put it as C for a reason. So yeah. Next up we have is the Shiver Racer. Eight. This might be ridiculous, but S tier because they're pretty fun to use, honestly. So yeah, but they're also pretty hard to control though. So that's why I probably again they're pretty good. Next up we have is the Sherm A tier. You literally are a tank. That's all I really need to say, honestly. I'll move this down a bit. All right. Yeah, apparently they gave me 2 piranhas for some reason. Next up we have is these things. I'm pretty sure I'll see it. The Uproot B tier because I don't think I really need to go in detail on these. Actually, you know what? Where is it? I'll put it at C. It's pretty decent, but it's not one of my favorites, so I don't know. And last but not least, Bowser S tier. You play as Bowser at the end. It's pretty cool. Wow, it wasn't easy ranking all these captures. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time for more. Later, folks.